The Edge of War. This is the third episode I watched. The other two were focused on the Falklands War and then Second World War. This one tells us the story of Cuba. Cuba, which was under discussion some weeks ago at the sauna downtown at the club. We have a fellow I called with my vicious manner Dr. Mengele, because he is a fan of Putin. And, well, the other one, the real Mengele, was of course embracing Hitler with calamitous results. This one is, of course, a different thing, but still to spread that propaganda and try and tell this narrative where Putin is not not guilty. It's the West. It's the West. So that's, and the bad thing is he's the leader of a union, of a syndicate of doctors. So influence he can, and he does freely spread this nonsense, this toxic poison. Well, if we were in Russia, reversing the roles, I mean, if we apply, not if we were in Russia, but if we apply here the Russian rules, then he would be considered first a traitor, because within NATO we have Russia as the enemy, so he's embracing the enemy, and then he would get sentenced for 20 years. He should be, in my view, because unlike those opposition figures in Russia, Kara-Murza, Navalny, who suffered just because they criticized a dictator, a tyrant, really. But this guy is pretty. I mean, I'm not saying this democracy would have to have such idiotic long sentences for expressing a different opinion, but with those rules and pushing this, as I said, this tall tale, this false, he would undermine the morale, and he would, if things get, I was going to say nasty, they're already disgusting. I mean, you would think of what they're doing in Ukraine, Russians, Putin. But if it gets even worse and say we clash, what then? He's embracing that. Anyway, so Cuba, trying to come back to Cuba, he was using, it was under discussion, but he brought in Cuba on the missiles crisis a decade ago. When the way the Americans handle the situation, the crisis, I think, in fact, it's an argument and evidence for my point. I mean, the Americans didn't, like the Russians invading Ukraine, didn't invade Cuba. They just pushed the Russians to take the missiles from them. So anyway, this episode talks about Castro. Right there, about the days of their rebellion against, admittedly, a vile regime. So the communists are as bad as it can be, on the level with the Nazis. Unfortunately, they had a very bad leader and corrupt system, making it easier for Castro to come to power. And let me just mention one episode where it was Che Guevara, I think, yes. So they had shot dead a peasant farmer. Someone gave the position, details about them to the government, to the forces, government, and they found out, but the soldiers wouldn't, and so they had to. They said you have to shoot him, but the rebels didn't want to do that, so they just avoided this until Che Guevara took a pistol and he shot the man from the villager himself. And that's again another stupid thing, myth, people having the face of Che Guevara. Was a war criminal in the rebel. Also embracing communism, a monstrous doctrine, which we know we had it here.